In the heart of Zana, a metropolis of both the surreal and the mundane, where ivory towers shift and flow like waves upon an ocean, a child was born named Aurelio. He was no ordinary infant from his very first breath. It was evident that he was touched by the ethereal essence that governed this extraordinary city. His wide, curious eyes held the gleam of thousand galaxies, reflecting a wisdom far beyond his years. Aurelio's birth marked the beginning of a new era for Zana. The city, typically harmonious and ordered despite its fantastical nature, seemed to resonate with his presence. The fluid edifice ebbed and flowed more fervently. The sentient sculptures shimmered with a newfound vibrance, and even the ever-present melody of existence that pervaded the city seemed to hum a new tune. It was as though the city itself recognized the potential within the child and celebrated its unfolding. From the moment Aurelio took his first step, the citizens of Xanadrium noticed something singular about him. Even as a toddler, he moved with an effortless grace that belied his tender age, traversing the fluctuating cityscape with an uncanny understanding. He seemed to anticipate each shift and ripple in the fabric of Xanadrium, adapting with ease to its ever-changing face. His early years were filled with a constant sense of wonder. The mundane and the magical coexisted in his world, and he delighted in the novelty of it all. A sun setting in 1,000 hues one moment, the ground blooming with a radiant flora the next. Life was a beautiful kaleidoscope of surreal experiences, and Aurelio relished every moment. But as he grew older, it became apparent that his ability to perceive the city's malleability went beyond mere adaptability. Aurelio did not merely react to the world around him, he seemed to be in tune with it, harmonizing with the rhythm of Xanadrium's unique existence. His ability to navigate the city's ever-shifting environment and intuit its intricate patterns were remarkable. But it was his innate understanding of the city's pulse, the heartbeat of Xanadrium, that truly set him apart. This understanding was far from theoretical. As Aurelio's comprehension of the city deepened, so did his connection with it. The resonance he had with the city manifested in astonishing ways. The fluid buildings responded to his touch, reshaping and reforming under his fingertips. The sentient sculptures would glow bright in his presence, their luminescence matching the rhythm of his heartbeat. It was as though Xanadrium itself recognized something in Aurelio, a connection, an understanding, a potential that was intertwined with the essence of the city. This mutual recognition formed the basis of the bond that would define Aurelio's life in the years to come. His was not a destiny written in the stars, but one shaped by the pulsating heart of Xanadrium. The citizens of Xanadrium could not ignore the peculiarity of Aurelio's abilities. Whispers spread among the shifting towers and fluctuating alleys, growing louder with each passing day. The child was not just one with the city, he was a living embodiment of its spirit, a living testament to its mystical essence. His ability, however, extended beyond mere physical manifestations. Aurelio's mind was as malleable as the city he called home. He was a quick learner, picking up the city's ancient language and the lore of the first makers in no time. His curious mind would often lead him to the city's grand archives, where he would spend hours poring over the scrolls of holographic texts, trying to understand the secrets of Xanadrium's creation and existence. With time, Aurelio developed a deep bond with the city's elder, Talion. A remnant of the first makers, Talion had watched over the city since its inception. The wise elder found a student in Aurelio, someone who not only understood the city's whimsical nature, but was also eager to delve deeper into its intricacies. Talion guided the young Aurelio, teaching him about the essence of Zana and its endless possibilities. As Aurelio matured, his unusual ability did not diminish but grew even stronger. He could perceive the whispers of the sentient sculptures, feel the breath of the wind that caressed the floating towers, and see the invisible lines of energy that flowed through the heart of the city. His ability to resonate with the city's essence began to manifest in more remarkable ways, with Aurelio exhibiting the power to influence the rhythms of the city, subtly guiding and interacting with its unique cadences. Growing under Talion's guidance and tutelage, Aurelio discovered the true potential of his abilities. He learned to communicate with the city spirit directly, to understand its moods, and to navigate its many mysteries. He learned to manipulate the city's flowing architecture, to guide its sentient sculptures, and to become one with the rhythm of Xanadrium's heart. His ability, however, were not just about bending reality or shaping matter. They were also about understanding, empathy, and harmony. Aurelio could feel the city's emotions, sense its fears and desires, and resonate with its deepest secrets. His powers were not about control, but about unity and coexistence. But Aurelio's extraordinary abilities did not make his life easy. He was different, and that difference made him both a curiosity and an outcast despite the beauty of his abilities. Aurelio often felt isolated, misunderstood by his peers who could not see or feel the world as he did. The city was his only friend, the only one who truly understood him. The solitude, however, did not harden Aurelio. Instead, it fueled his curiosity and determination to understand his place in the world. He was not merely a child with unusual abilities, he was a piece of Xanadrium's soul, a living testament to the city's incredible magic. And as he grew older, Aurelio began to realize that his destiny was not just to live in Zana, but to protect and preserve its unique essence. Talion, the ancient guardian, saw this realization in Aurelio and understood that the young man's life was about to take a turn. The elder's lessons became more complex, focusing not only on the technical aspects of Zana's ethereal behavior, but also on the philosophies behind the city's creation and the purpose. The lessons were intense, often overwhelming for Aurelio, but the young man took it all in stride, devouring knowledge with the hunger of a man starved. The ever-mutable city, for its part, seemed to respond to Aurelio's growth and his increasing understanding. Zana's energy Lines became more vibrant and responsive, its sentient sculpture grew brighter, their responses more nuanced, and the fluctuations of its reality seemed to align with the cadence of Aurelio's own heartbeat. The city recognized him not just as an inhabitant, but as a part of its very spirit. But with this recognition came a certain level of expectation. The inhabitants of Zana began to rely on Aurelio, seeking his guidance to interpret the city's fluctuating moods, to quell its occasional fits of caprice. They sought his help in communicating with the sentient sculptures, in navigating the shifting lanes and alleyways, and in comprehending the city's ever-changing whims. Despite the pressure, Aurelio bore the burden of the expectations with grace and humility. He helped where he could, guiding his fellow citizens with patience and empathy. His experiences, his connections with the city, and his innate understanding of its spirit allowed him to be the bridge between the city and its inhabitants, a role he embraced wholeheartedly as the link between Zana and its inhabitants. Aurelio found purpose and acceptance, and in this role he began to see a future shaped not just by his unique abilities, but by his desire to preserve and protect the city he loved. Years passed, and Aurelio's legend within the city grew as the living bridge between Zana and its citizens. He had helped the city evolve in harmony with its people. His days were filled with a whirlwind of activity, from guiding citizens through sudden architectural shifts to calming the rumbling heart of Xanadrium during unexpected surges of energy. Despite his responsibility, Aurelio remained a devoted student of Talion, learning from the wise elder the secrets that lay deeper within the city's essence, from understanding the whimsical flow of its energy to deciphering the enigmatic messages of its sentient sculptures. Aurelio delved deeper into the city's mystic core, each revelation bringing him closer to the heart of Zana. As he aged, his bond with the city only intensified. He could feel its every pulse, sense its every mood. It was as if his own heartbeat was synchronizing with the rhythm of the city, his essence interweaving with the city's spirit, strengthening the connection they shared. The city wasn't merely an external entity anymore, it was part of him, inseparable and profoundly intertwined. Yet, as the synchrony deepened, so did the challenges. Xanadrium was not just a city, it was a living, breathing entity of immense power and complexity. Its moods were often unpredictable, its reactions overwhelming. There were times when the city's energy surged unexpectedly, threatening to destabilize its delicate balance. Aurelio found himself bearing the brunt of these surges, struggling to maintain the city's equilibrium on his own. But each challenge served as a lesson, each obstacle a stepping stone towards greater understanding. Aurelio learned to weather the city's storms, to dance with its unpredictable nature, to soothe its tantrums, and to celebrate its joys. With each passing day, he found himself becoming more resilient, more attuned to Zana, and more ready for the role destiny had chosen for him. Throughout his adolescence and into young adulthood, Aurelio's life became a symphony of harmonious coexistence with Xanadrium. He was no longer an outlier, an anomaly. He was the heartbeat of the city, its pulsing rhythm. His extraordinary abilities, once viewed with caution, were now celebrated as a lifeline that kept the city vibrant and alive. Aurelio's relationship with the city was harmonious, as it was complex. His understanding of Xanadrium went beyond the comprehensions of a typical citizen. He could anticipate the city's mood swings, empathize with its fluctuations, and navigate its ever-changing maze with the familiarity of one who had mapped its every corner. He moved with the city, and the city moved with him, their rhythms a synchronized dance of energy and life. However, this deep connection had its drawbacks. As Aurelio matured, he found it increasingly difficult to maintain a sense of self, to separate his own thoughts and feelings from those of the city. He was, after all, just a young man, but he bore the weight of an entire city on his shoulders. Talion, ever watchful, observed the strain and decided to intervene. The elderly sage introduced Aurelio to the concept of meditation and emotional balance, teaching him to center himself amidst the whirlwind of sensory input. He taught Aurelio to maintain a strong sense of individuality, even as he communed deeply within the city. The lessons were challenging, but they were also essential. Aurelio learned to differentiate his own thoughts from the city's, to keep his own emotions in check even as he felt the city's fluctuating moods. This ability to differentiate and maintain balance became a cornerstone of Aurelio's existence, a tool that helped him manage the burden of his profound connection with Xana. As Aurelio mastered his equilibrium, he found himself able to explore new facets of his relationship with Xanadrium. His understanding of the city deepened, and with it his control over his powers. He discovered he could subtly influence the city's rims, encouraging it to react in ways beneficial to its inhabitants. He learned to suit the city's turbulent moods, to guide its erratic energy, and to synchronize its pulses with the heartbeat of its people. His interventions, while minor, made a significant difference in the life of the city's inhabitants. Xanadrium became a more hospitable place, its whimsical fluctuations less chaotic and more predictable. The people rejoiced in this newfound stability, their lives made easier by Aurelio's tireless efforts. The once ostracized boy had now become their guardian, their guide, and their link to the city they called home. While Aurelio found joy in helping his people, he also found solitude in his unique connection with Xana. The city spoke to him in whispers and riddles, its sentient sculptures confiding in him with their ancient lore. Each conversation was a journey into the unknown, a path winding through the city's mysterious past, its vibrant present, and its uncertain future. The more he explored, the more Aurelio realized that Xanadrium was more than a mere city. It was a living sentient being, an entity that had seen eons pass and civilizations rise and fall. It was a silent observer, its consciousness etched into the very fabric of its architecture, and in its memories Aurelio found a wealth of knowledge, a treasury of wisdom that was at once overwhelming and enlightening. Engrossed in the intricate dance of discovery, Aurelio began to lose track of time. Days merged into nights, weeks into months, and before he knew it, years had passed. The young man who was once bewildered by Xana's peculiar nature now stood as a mature guardian, a symbol of stability amidst the city's whimsical flux. In the heart of the city he found a sanctuary, a refuge where he could withdraw and rejuvenate away from the constant gaze of its inhabitants. Surrounded by the gentle hum of the city's pulsating energy, Aurelio found solace. Here he could unburden himself of his responsibilities, could let down his guard, and just be without the weight of the city's expectations. As time flowed, Aurelio also found companionship in an unexpected form. The city's sentient sculptures, initially enigmatic and distant, started to reveal more of their nature to him. They would converse with Aurelio, sharing tales from their vast memories, narrating stories of ancient times when Xanadrium was young and untamed. Through these exchanges, Aurelio found a sense of camaraderie, a unique friendship that bridged the gap between human and non-human consciousness. These peaceful moments, however, were a reprieve, not the norm. Xana, with its unpredictable nature, was never still for long. Each new day brought forth fresh challenges, unexpected shifts, and novel conundrums, and each time Aurelio rose to the occasion, his spirit undaunted, his resolve unwavering, guided by Talion's teachings and his own ever-growing wisdom. Aurelio was preparing himself unknowingly for a destiny that was fast approaching, a responsibility that would test the strength of his bond with Xanadrium. As Aurelio stood on the threshold of his destiny, he reflected on his extraordinary journey from an outcast child burdened with inexplicable powers to the guardian of an ancient city. His life had been a whirlwind of emotions, challenges, and revelations. He had learned to navigate the turbulent seas of Xanadrium's temperament, to negotiate with its ever-evolving landscape, and to decode the riddles of its sentient sculptures. But as he gazed out over the city, he realized his journey was far from over. He felt a sense of anticipation, a pulse of energy resonating from the city's heart, a whisper of change on the horizon. Something was coming, something that would challenge everything he knew, that would redefine the course of his life. In the quiet before the storm, Aurelio steeled himself. He was ready to face whatever the future held. He had learned to thrive in the unpredictable world of Xana, to embrace its whimsical nature, to dance in its rhythm, and to harness its energy. With the city pulsating beneath him, echoing his resolve, Aurelio stepped forth into the unknown. As the guardian of Xanadrium, as its heart and soul, he was prepared to protect, to adapt, and to overcome. The boy who was once lost and feared had become the city's beacon of hope, its champion. He had embraced his powers, understood his destiny, and learned to love his extraordinary life. And as he stood at the precipice of a new era, he was ready to face the challenges ahead, to guide Xanadrium through the challenges to come, and to write the next chapter of his remarkable